I was thinking about going for a hike outside the canyon.
I remember where we are.
Perfect. She said she would be expecting us.
Well, well, well. Barrett, you're actually here. Astounding.
Ellie! Ellie, come on. I promised we'd stop by, didn't I?
People make promises all the time, Barrett. And most folks try to avoid Gagarin, not visit it. Anyway, I'm glad you made it out here. We have work to do, don't we? It's not a resort. It's a working town run by mining corporations. You don't come here unless you need to, and you don't stay unless you have to.
Or unless you're a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer who genuinely wants to make things better for others. Right, Ellie?
You're kind, Barrett. Yes, I suppose there's that type of person as well. Yes. It was my first case as a bright-eyed, optimistic lawyer.
Well, starting your career with a defeat is rough, Ellie.
It was. But in a way, it made me more determined. Not exactly, but similar cases. A corporation commits a crime and needs a scapegoat, so they select someone powerless to target.
The quintessential Gagarin tale.
Indeed. Down to business. Perfect. What do you already know?
So we already know that Ervin worked for Hephaestus Mining Company years ago, and they blamed him for catastrophic economic and ecological issues here on Gagarin.
Yes. He lost his case because he didn't defend himself, and we had almost no evidence without him. He was publicly blamed for the economic woes, and his accounts were seized in compensation.
His account on Gagarin specifically. It was just the amount he was paid years ago for the job.
Right. They would have taken his assets in other settlements, but by law, his death prevented it.
I recall receiving a message asking him to appear in court a day after his funeral.
An unfortunate reality of interplanetary legal communiques, I'm afraid. Well, we can bring the case to a judge here if we have new evidence or a witness.
What about the evidence we found so far?
Yes, well, about that. It's just not enough. Not on its own, no. It's circumstantial. Helpful to support our claim, but not enough. Best case scenario, we clear his name and his assets are returned, plus additional compensation. In order for me to go before a judge, I'd like to have some solid evidence pertaining to motive. The courts won't entertain a challenge to its ruling unless we're sure that something major was missed in the original trial.
What was the motive from the original trial?
We had no solid motive after our witness withdrew his testimony. Yeah, we need something major. Documentation, recordings, a witness, something.
It's been so long. How could we find anything like that?
I've thought about this a lot since the original case. The mine that Ervin worked at was shuttered in 2309. They probably still have documents relating to whatever happened there with him.
Not really. All I know is that it's a Hephaestus mine from 20 years ago, somewhere on Gagarin.
I don't have a couple decades to wait for you to search them all, so we'll need to narrow it down. Not necessarily. To Hephaestus, it might be cheaper to run away and let the dust bury it all. That's where you come in. I don't know which mine he worked at when the incident took place. In theory, you could find that information on a Foundry terminal, if you can access it. You'll need a passcode. That's the hard part. Besides the Foundry records, there also might be something in Ervin's apartment. If he knew he was being framed, he might have held on to some documents there.
Dear Diary, today we created an ecological disaster and then blamed it on an off-worlder. Love Hephaestus.
Funny. But you'd be surprised how often people write down things that get them into serious trouble.
Oh, do tell.
For comparison, I just finished a case against another company that was charged with illegally dumping waste near the town's water supply. Their permits specified a site that would have cost twice as much fuel, so they sent a memo to the driver to dump it at the first available location just outside of town.
They actually wrote that down. Classic. Do you think your Argos extractor's credentials could work? That would be handy.
Barrett, you brought someone with relevant work experience? I admire that.
I'm nothing if not resourceful, Ellie.
If that doesn't work, then maybe talk shop with another worker. See if they can help.
We just need to find the mine where Ervin worked 20-some years ago. How hard could that be?
Let me level with you both. It might not be possible to find enough evidence, but we may as well try, right? At least we'll know one way or another. If you'll excuse me, I have to get some court documents ready for this case.
The Foundry District isn't too far from here. Now I get why he wanted me to look after his plants. No windows, insufficient power for proper lamps. Oh, he must have been miserable. No wonder he wrote so much. Wait a second. What about this safe? I bet it's locked by a terminal. Ervin didn't live here for long, but he certainly had a lot of junk here. I had no idea. Well, I'll be. If you ever doubted Ervin's genius, look at all this. Still chugging along 20 years later. Hold on. Is that what I think it is? Aha! Will you look at that? If we go to Town Hall, I bet we can get a copy of that hunting license. There's gotta be a way to look up applications. Is that Ervin's employment contract? Let me see. But we could search for it at the Foundry database. Now, let's see what's in there. All right, we've got some solid leads, it looks like. The employment contract and the hunting license at Town Hall. The more the merrier, unless you're Hephaestus. It was a bit strange going through Ervin's old things, though. I was hoping for some old pictures, but nothing. What's that you have there? A plant? No, but I did find a few slates that might give us a clue, as well as a reminder to finish a physics paper that I never did. Beautiful and resilient, as extremophile plants tend to be. Although this self-sustaining habitat dish gets some of the credit. I bet it could survive without care for a long time. I'm not sure. It might not even be a plant. It might technically be a fungus. But there's probably a reason why Ervin tried his best to keep it alive. When we get back home, I'll go through some of his research notes. It might tell us something more about this plant. Hopefully it's not poisonous. Witchcraft, probably. But if you want a more scientific explanation, I have a couple of theories. It could go through states of hibernation, or draw moisture from the air the way epiphytic plants do. There's also that habitat dish Ervin set up for it, which gave it light and nutrients. Still, I'm not ruling out witchcraft. Evolved or altered, Ervin used to experiment a lot with extremophile plant life. Maybe he made the perfect plant buddy for his windowless apartment. In any event, I'll go through Ervin's notes in more detail later. There's probably a flowchart somewhere with this little guy's name on it. Oh, on that note, we should give it a name. I'm thinking something simple yet refined. What do you think of Harvey? I think I just did. And his name is Harvey. Okay, the three of us should get back to it. You, me, and Harvey have a case to solve.
Been an uptick in strongly worded graffiti recently. Guess not everyone.
They probably never intended for these walkways to last this long. You ever read about the early history of spaceflight? So political. So familiar sometimes.
Flint's got a delivery here. You want to go take a look?
Depends. Is new shipment coming from Sidonia or
Supervisor is going to be mad that I'm
Sidonia.
I just need a moment to
Stuff they
myself
ship
before
in
I
from
go back.
Sidonia tastes like dust.
Coordinates look valid to me. Imagine Ervin thinking the same thing all those years ago. Just a job, right? Well, at least we know where to keep looking, right? Essentially any documentation that screams, Ervin isn't guilty, we made it up. I guess we'll see what state the mine is in. It's possible they collapsed it before they left. We just won't know until we get there. If that's the case, we'll just have to figure something out.
Can't believe I knew I shouldn't have locked eyes with you. Dang it. What do you need? Haven't seen you in the mines before, you know? Are you selling something or what? I'm not buying though, so...
The Garden's not an easy place to live.
I don't
Nice
have...
to finally be getting some new
Didn't
names.
even have time to get my lunch.
You still want to do that hike?
I don't know. Is this a bad idea?
It's a hike. We get out of the damn city.
No one's going to eat us there.
Can this wait? Pretty busy trying to relax here. Not looking to chat, friend.
Yeah, this town hall I see every day. Hopefully that public access. So, the hunting license was sponsored by Hephaestus after all. Ellie will be very interested to see this.
Apparently, the corporate execs are talking about building their own priority catwalks above the city. You been up there?
Rough day,
Good luck.
right? You lost her waiting for somebody?
I remember one. Someone painted some choice words on the front of the Hackman. It's back. The other day, there wants to be dumped.
Careful. This place was shuttered 20 years ago. But it might have new tenants now. can handle this. That's all. Stuff intact when they shuttered this place. I wonder if they were in a hurry or if it was just cheaper to replace it.